So it was your brother that dug the hole, huh? I'm going to try to get some of this tar off the front of the timing cover and get it back into the driveway where it belongs. Non-chlorinated brake cleaner. It's not just for brakes anymore. Never been a fan of engine degreaser, but we'll give it a shot. You'll have to bear with the sound of teenagers working in the background. Hey there folks, we got a bunch of noise going in the background. I'll make this short just to kind of give you an update on how things are going. Not yesterday, but the day before, the day that I made the video on the fixing up the Ranger. Everything was still kind of torn down, and since then I got the block surface all cleaned up. I got the timing surface cleaned up on the pickup, and there's a little tube that comes out of the top of the water pump thermostat area. It's a coolant bypass tube. I replaced that because the one that was on there was rusted up really bad. It's a press fit. Trying to take the old one out, it snapped off at the top of the block, and it took me about 3 hours of whittling on it to get that sucker out. I finally got it scored in a couple of places down inside with a hacksaw blade and was able to chisel it out. The new one went right into place in about 3 or 4 minutes, so that was no big deal. After that, I got my Velcro head gasket all copper coated tacky and got it in place and got the new head seated, and I got that torqued to spec. Got the camshafts, you know, it's got 2 of them. I got those set back in place and torqued down, and I kind of got held up because there's a head temperature sensor right in the middle of where your spark plugs go on the top of that cylinder head, and I didn't have a socket that would fit down over it, and I didn't have a wrench with enough offset to get onto it, so that kind of stopped me right there. But I went and I picked up some deep offset wrenches, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna hack a 19mm socket in 2 pieces and weld a little pipe extension in the middle if I have to. I couldn't find a sensor socket that was the right size for it. But anyway, didn't get a chance to work on it at all yesterday. Had some prior obligation. I'm gonna spend at least an hour working on it. Right now, I'll show you the work that I've gotten done so far. All right, so different people have different definitions of clean when it comes to surfaces for gaskets and sealing. This might not be the prettiest job on the front of this, and I didn't even worry too much about all that varnish on the inside of the timing face here. But I did get this all razored down nice and smooth and cleaned it up with some brake cleaner, and for the most part it looks good. I've got a couple areas here where I've got goop squeezed out from installing the head gasket. I'll give it a once over and clean up anything that I see left over, but for the most part you're lucky I did that. The tube that I was telling you about that caused me all those problems was that guy right there. You can see him. You see some fresh copper RTV that I greased it with when I pressed it back into place. I don't know how many of y'all have used that copper RTV in the past. I didn't know about it until about a year ago. I have fixed some stuff with it that I never thought was going to stay together otherwise, and it's kind of made a believer out of me. I realize it's not the first choice for a water passage, but I've yet to have it fail on me, so I'm not scared. And that new cylinder head sure is kind of pretty. I've got to get that sensor put in that I was telling you about that kind of held me up from getting any further. It screws in right down there, right there, and it's so deep down in there that you can't really get a box wrench on it too well, and I don't think those deep offsets are going to work now that I look at it. I've got the tool that's specific to this model of engine. It's a Mazda timing tool that you use to lock your camshafts in a certain position in the back, and then you have to orient your crankshaft with a pin that bolts in from this side that holds cylinder number 1 at top dead center, and then there's a hole in the crankshaft pulley that has to be in exactly the right spot in order for the crank sensor to engage and interface with the timing on this thing. But the crankshaft doesn't have any kind of key on it. It's all held in place by friction, and that's something that I've never seen before, but apparently it makes the timing exact once you get it there. I've seen numerous videos on how to put that together, and while it's not overly simple, it doesn't appear to be too difficult. Boy, it's amazing how much easier something is to install if you have the proper tool for it. I was able to get that screwed in place with that deep offset wrench here. See, it had just enough room to grab it and turn it down with that. Okay, so here's a little update on the progress I've made today. I've got the cam gears off of the old camshafts and loosely installed. They're not tightened down yet on the new cams. I've got the timing set all in place. I do not have the tension on it right now. As you'll see there, I've got it pinned back with that little Allen wrench there. Sorry about the weed eater and everything going in the background, but you know, I have to make these when I can. If there's other stuff going on, I'm not gonna shut it down just for that. I would have tried to do a little more step-by-step showing you along the way, except for, you know, I had to wash my hands just to do this, and when you're busy trying to work with them, it's hard to keep them clean. And I do wear gloves on occasion, but there were some holes that I couldn't find with the gloves on here. Shut up, JD. I can hear you typing already. Okay, so again, there's the timing set. Everything is kind of loose right now. It's just in place. I've got to go through and tighten it all in. I was working on trying to clean the timing cover, and it has so much baked on, caked on nastiness on it that I've got it soaking overnight. So I'm not going to be putting it back on today. So that's why I haven't got the timing set tightened down like it needs to be. I went ahead and I moved on to installing the new thermostat. I went ahead and put a brand new unit. Didn't see the point in trying to reuse the old one. Now this thermostat and the black plastic housing is all one piece, and it has a heavy rubber O-ring on the back side of it, which is probably sufficient, but the block surface where the thermostat attaches was pitted and corroded, and so for a little bit of insurance I slathered some RTV on there. I know there's probably some of you that think that's the wrong thing to do, but I did it, and I'm not ashamed of it. It's just the way I am. Only God can judge me. I tell you what, it is hotter than the bottom of Hunter's Spoon out here. 4:49 in the evening. I've got to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it takes me an hour to get there. So I'm about ready to call it quits for the evening. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll try to keep you updated on the progress. We're not there yet, but we're closer than we were yesterday. So hopefully another week or so of fiddling around with this and I'll have it all back together and we can get back to making some content that we might actually want to see. Till then, take care. God bless. And I think this is about the 10th time I've had to do this. That thing was nasty.